is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 151. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E sitting here on a Sunday afternoon, coming off Austin FC's third consecutive loss. Episode 151, though. We're going to need some 151. Couple games. Looks like you got that reference to start off this episode. So how you feeling, my friend?
I'm quite familiar with 151, that's for sure. I'm frustrated, man. Officially upping the threat level to code red here. We are really up against it right now. Backs against the wall. You see the form over the last 5 games, not being able to score. I think we got, one goal in the last 3, and it's a garbage time PK from Mr. Alex Ring himself. Watching that game last night was just incredibly frustrating. And, as someone who's been a fan of the fact that this team has found ways to win ugly and to generate points and the matchups that we don't necessarily belong in or have a right to be like looking at potential 3 points. It's just been hard to find anything to hold on to here on the offensive side of the ball. And now you're starting to see the cracks really start to form here and other teams figuring us out a bit, as well as them getting into better form. And it's just really a difficult and challenging time to be excited about this month. This club, we're going to have to hold on to for dear life to get to this, transfer window where we can get some help. But, man, it is not looking good right now. We're really in the weeds, and we got to talk about it.
Yeah, even just getting to July at this point to get Danny Pereira back. Certainly missed him a ton last night and will over the next 3+ matches. I think I'm with you, man. Like, it really feels like we are looking right over the edge of that cliff to potentially dropping to 10th, 11th, 12th here over the next 2 weeks or so. So we'll talk about last night's game somewhat briefly, hopefully, because we do have, again, it's maybe not a positive, but on paper, right, you've got another opportunity at Q2 on Wednesday. We'll preview the LAFC match. Just the hottest team in the league, been to the MLS Cup final the last 2 years, won a Supporters Shield, CONCACAF final. That's who's coming to town on Wednesday. We'll preview that match, get into some last business day, and of course, the nonsense before we jump into this afternoon's episode. Just want to remind you all to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us grow the show, as does hitting the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. If you are watching there, you can also hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, on this episode, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, which you can also do by leaving a comment and joining in on the discussion. Any and all of that you would do for us, we would love you for it. Coming into Colorado, we got media availability on Thursday, some positive intonations from Coach Wolf about the health of the trio of questionables, Driussi, Gallagher, and Finley. Injury report comes out on Friday. And all of those guys are absent. Just our 2 international guys, Cascante and Pereira, of course, out away with their respective national teams. And then we get the lineup on Saturday night. And, man, this is, I don't know, we talked a little bit about that 9+2 theory, right, coming out of Atlanta. I discussed that at length with Phil West on his emergency podcast from last week. This is a 10+1 lineup for me, how I categorize these players: Stuver and net, Gallagher, Heinzike, Vysanen, Biru on the back line, Johan Valencia, Alex Ring, and Sebastian Driussi in the midfield, Wolf and Obrian out on the wings, Diego Rubio up top, double keeper bench, Persano in Cleveland, Kolmanich, Hedges, Jimenez, Fodre, Zardes, Finley, and the call-up and eventual debut here of Alonso Ramirez. So I know we can praise him now, praise him when that comes up in the minutes. It was great to see him get out there. I thought he did pretty well for himself in that time, but also the fact that we have Alonso called up again and double keeper bench is telling of where we're at right now. How'd you feel about the lineup?
I'll just start with the Alonso news. That is the only positive takeaway here for me outside of 10 being healthy and ready to go in this matchup. Absolutely fantastic to see him. I also thought that he was fine in his time there. And Alonso is a guy that we've been following for over a year now with FC2, and someone I've always been a big fan of, particularly the way that he showed up in the MLS Next Pro playoffs last year and was a leader and was able to go up there and help us win that title. But looking at the roster as a whole, yeah, man, it's ugly. It's ugly up and down the field. And then, for me, the thing that really just gets highlighted and emphasized when Danny is not on the field, it just kind of takes the legs out from Seba and his ability to create chances for this team as probably the only person who creates consistent chances for this club, albeit whether it be, direct passes, scoring goals, or being the man to set up the play before the assist to a goal comes. So when Pep's not in the lineup, it just takes so much away from us. And I understand that we have this road strategy of how we're going to play and how we go about it, but there's only so much you can do with this lineup right now and the limitations that we have depth-wise, particularly at the wing position. I know Owen's been out there trying to do his best with being in that starting 11 on that wing slot, but there's just only so much we can do right now. And I was talking to you earlier before we went on here. I feel like we may have just squeezed every single drop of juice out of these tactics that we have on the road, where we're just going to be incredibly condensed and try to give the ball to the other team. They're just letting us do that now. They understand and have enough film on this to see that we're not progressing the ball creatively in the offensive third to try to generate chances. And they're just content with also sitting back and being like, well, eventually you're going to turn this ball over. There's going to be some sort of mistake, particularly if you get it into the attacking third where we're just not capable of making. It's almost like you watch these games, right? And you see 10 is able to make the pass after the pass. That's the easiest play, right?
Yeah.
Everyone else makes the easiest pass, and then we're just stuck, and it gives the defense time to recover. So I just don't know where to go with this 11. It is what it is, and I can't be too thrilled about it.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk certainly about what we might desire or what we expect out of this lineup on Wednesday. Talk about that in a little bit. Before we jump into the Colorado match, just let me sprinkle a little bit of positivity, and this doesn't help us until later in July, but from that midweek media availability with Coach Wolf, he did mention that both Bukhari and Dessler, the plan is that they're going to arrive in Austin in the latter parts of this month here in June. So I don't think he kind of said that they're not able to practice with the team until some point in July. It sounded like that is some point between like July 1 and July 18th, that they don't have to wait all the way until the 18th to get into practice. And then he also kind of hinted, he said, quote, "These are a couple internationals," talking about those two. "I expect there may be some more in the future." So maybe, again, like we've kind of speculated, maybe Roto's not done here, and maybe we're getting additional reinforcements, which would be a very welcome sight.
Yeah, it's all well and good, but it doesn't help us up until then, and we are just in the fight for our lives right now. And it's not getting any easier. I feel like I might be digressing a bit here, but we talked previously about this upcoming month of June, and I put all the emphasis on the final game of the month at SKC, where it's like, this is the opportunity where you actually are going to have to go out and get 3 points on the road in a situation where it may not be likely, but it is your best opportunity to secure some points here. And then obviously putting all of that emphasis on that last game of the month is challenging, because then it's almost an all or nothing breaking point where it's like, if we don't get these 3 points here, then you're really staring down the barrel of a tumultuous, start of July to get to the point where we can be within striking distance for when those two guys that we have definitively coming and potentially more can get here. So, I'm concerned, man.
So much for me trying to be positive before we jump. Man, I mean, maybe like, can Anthony Precourt right now, like by NBA Jam rules, right? He's heating up after these losses. 2 losses, green smoke after each one. Can he give us a third tomorrow on Monday?
We'll see, man. I'm not
I
banking
don't
on
think so.
Yeah, I'm not banking on it.
All right, so jumping into this one, and we'll go ahead and start in the 11th minute. One of many long passages of Colorado possession here. A little bit of frustration that I noted watching it live where we were, and then on the rewatch this morning, I thought some notable frustration shown by John Gallagher here at maybe just body language doctor here, what I'm interpreting as like maybe a lack of defensive effort or positioning, maybe is a better way to put it, by both Obrian and Diego Rubio there on that near side to the broadcast camera during this possession in particular. But then also kind of as a general note through the first 10, 15 minutes, even though the Rapids are controlling the possession and pace here, Austin, we talked about bend, don't break. I didn't even really feel like they were bending really on the rewatch. Colorado, really throughout the entirety of the first half, doesn't really enter the Austin penalty area more than a handful of times, or really even dribbles.
Yeah, and I mean, again, other teams are content with that now, really.
Right.
Like they're still feeling us out, and they're not going to overextend. And you did see on the opportunities that we did have on the other side of the ball, where we were able to catch them a little bit out of on a counter, but it just still falls on the at the feet of Obrian and guys who are really struggling on the offensive side of the ball. I thought the frustration that you saw here with Johnny G kind of carried over and spread to other guys as well, in what was a very frustrating game for them. And these are all not very positive signs for a team that needs to be in the right mental space to try to capitalize on getting points here on the road versus teams that are just better than us right now. Like they're playing better than us. They have more talent. Armis, I thought, did a very good job with their high press not being completely overextended, where it's like we have to rush to get this first goal on Austin because we're going to struggle for 90 minutes to score, to not even just score, to just to create chances. So there's no real point if I'm an opposing coach playing Austin for us to be fully committed to a high press that's all the way up, where it's like we have to generate a quick goal here because we don't want to get Austin into a track and field meet with any of these teams, particularly on the road. And while I know that the red zone, our quote unquote red zone inside the 18, is something that we have been prioritizing consistently throughout this season, they were still just in control. And I can give credit to our team, our club, for having some possessions that we strung together a little bit where it was like, okay, we've alleviated this pressure, but then it just stalls out. And that, I think, leads into the point that I was trying to make initially here, where it's like Colorado didn't have to go, pedal to the metal to try to get any sort of, controlling factor in regard to the possession of the ball to go their way.
Right. I'm with you. 17th minute here. Biru goes down, gets the foul call. Replay shows Kevin Cabral really didn't make a ton of contact there, but, we'll take it. Off that free kick, Austin works it all the way back to Stuver, and then he lobs it over 2 lines to Alex Ring. He lays it up to Gallagher, gets it to Obi, up to Rubio, who slides it left to Driussi, and then Driussi gets it back to Obrian, who finds Alex Ring now overlapping him with some space down the right side of the Colorado penalty box. And then Sebastian Driussi is making a pretty good run right to the near post, and Alex Ring soars this cross completely over the scrum and out for a Colorado throw. And I thought he was wearing the number 7 jersey there for a second.
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 guys running near post in this situation, and he overshoots everybody. And it just, again, when Alex has the ball in that position, he doesn't look like he knows what he wants to do with it. And this ball comes off his foot very poorly and was a theme the entire night.
22nd minute, another long Rapids possession. Keegan Rosenberry crosses it into the area from the right side. It's cleared up and out to the left where Georgi Mihailovic brings it down. Rapids cycle it around to the back, then to the right, where Rosenberry again here finds a cutting Connor Ronan on the edge of the box, and he crosses it in. That cross deflects off Johan Valencia And then Omer Fernandez beats Alex Ring to that loose ball, taps it right back into the path of a charging Cole Bassett. And Bassett does really well to slam it into that top right corner past Stuver from about 19 yards out. I think right there, you got to give a lot of credit to Bassett on the finish. Because again, shots coming from outside the area is what we're trying to do here. Not necessarily in this fashion, but sometimes you got to credit the offense. And I do right there that it was a great shot by Bassett.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw this build-up play being very dangerous. The advancing cut by Ronan is a very well-timed one, and it pulls us a bit out of our shell, and then it creates an opportunity here. I know it's not the most fortunate bounce if you're a Verde and Black fan, and you can kind of point to that, but a very skilled finish by Bassett to beat Stuver here. And this is where we have seen throughout the course of this season, if we get scored on, where do the answers come from? Because you can't keep relying on this bend but don't break mentality when you have broken now and been scored on. And I just don't, I do not envy the position that the players or the coaching staff are in regard to finding some way to generate offense after giving up a goal like this early. And it's a very difficult task, man.
To their credit, in my eyes here, I think we saw a little bit more of a response from Austin after this goal than we have in some of the previous road matches where you go down kind of early this season. Obviously, compared to last year, of course, it's night and day this year, it feels like. But you do here in the 30th minute, Austin kind of off on a rare counterattack after they got pounced on a turnover near midfield. You've got Seba here leading the charge. It's 5-on-4. And Driussi plays a great ball, like on a rope, right to the foot of Obrian, who, to his credit, like traps it cleanly. But then he decides to try to cross it into Diego Rubio. I think that should have been a shot attempt. I know everybody where we were watching screamed, shoot it at the time. So I know I'm not alone there. I get what he's trying to do with the cross. And hindsight's 2020, but I thought at the time you should shoot it. I still think he should have opened up and tested Zach Steffen right there. And then for what it's worth, after the play, Diego Rubio stays down. It looked like to me like somewhat inadvertent, but Keegan Rosenberry fouls him right here. I mean, I don't think you can really give a pen there, but if that's anywhere else on the field, like running into a guy like that, tripping him up is a foul. Luckily, he wasn't actually hurt, as it appeared he might be there for a few moments. But I guess, back to the Obrian non-shot. Your thoughts there?
It's got to be a shot. I can appreciate what he's trying to do there to get the ball to Diego, but it's late and he's marked. And it's like I don't know if his vision is blocked. Has he not pulled his head up enough to understand that Diego is not in a position to receive this ball? And we've seen Steffen be quite you see later in the match, he fumbles a ball over his head, like he struggled with some of this stuff. And when you're a team like Austin, who only generates a very, very limited amount of chances, when you have an opportunity like this, I think you just have to test the keeper. And, they get so much emphasis placed on these opportunities when they don't go our way. And it just gets highlighted and magnified. And that's just bad because it creates more pressure on these players to do something almost spectacular in these moments to generate a goal for this team. And that's just not the team that we really are. So I think the hesitation, the passiveness that we've seen in the attacking third throughout the course of this season is just an issue that is going to continue because we don't have guys who are ultimately confident in their ability to beat a keeper in these situations. And again, I'll go back to how that hampers 10 even more. This is a fantastic ball that he plays there, and he has multiple balls in this game that put us in really good situations, but it just falls apart and it is lacking. So I definitely think it should have been a shot. Does that mean he would have scored? No. Right. But again, it might even be a situation where if your ultimate goal is to get that ball to Diego, then maybe it's a spill kind of effort. Maybe it's a ball coming, a deflection, anything. So had to be a shot, and not the first time, or excuse me, not the last time in this game that an Austin player does not take an opportunity that they have on their plate.
Yeah, and I think what you said too about number 10 being the one that is Of course, I think rightfully, right, charged with creating most of the few chances that you get in a game like that, especially when number 6 is not around. 34th minute, Austin breaks the Colorado press. Good Gallagher pass out of pressure. It ends up with Owen Wolf dropping it off to Driussi just outside the Colorado 18, kind of left center of net. And he fires a bullet of a pass right to the foot of Diego Rubio. And like you were mentioning, right? Diego Rubio not able to turn on it quick enough before a double team closes him down and gets that ball out of harm's way. 2 minutes later, Kevin Cabral playing a ball towards Omir Fernandez on a break after a pass over the top down to Cabral on the right. Austin, or rather, Alex Ring slides in kind of at the last moment and ends up with a tackle that, watching it live, was a little dicey. You see the slow motion replay, near perfect to win that ball back. And then Austin goes the other way. And Driussi here, not his best pass, kind of a through ball, really heavy towards Hader Obrian. But to Hader's credit, on both sides of the ball, this is the first of multiple really awesome efforts, I thought, to either chase somebody down in transition or to keep this ball in bounds, as he does literally at the last second. And then another effort was made by Obrian, I thought, like kind of a nifty, snaking little run here with the ball at his feet to get inside the area, cut to that left foot. Ultimately, his shot goes wide of the target, but great piece of individual play there, I thought, in my opinion, for Obi.
I agree. Great hustle, great effort play. And then again, like, this is, you get a little bit of space and go ahead, take your opportunity. Try to make the most out of it. You know, like, he's not going to be, you're not going to see finishes with his left foot in that type of situation more often than not. But I'm still much more okay with that than the hesitation and the willingness to try to defer to somebody else and be like, okay, well, you're the one who needs to put this past the keeper, even though sometimes that can be the right play. It just wasn't the right play in the first situation. And I do applaud him for the effort he made here. Need a better ball from 10 initially, though. But again, the margins are so thin. And these things happen throughout the course of the game. And we're just showing now that we are not capable of catching back up to the 8 ball in that situation when we find ourselves down in these games.
40th minute. And again, like, to Austin's credit, getting a little bit more threatening with their attack is opening up the game here. And in this instance, Bassett, one-man counterattack after getting a ball out from Stefan all the way down the left side, cuts inside on Gallagher to his right foot, about 5 yards outside the top of the box. And like, another fantastic shot attempt by him here, targeting that right corner of the frame. And then I think an equally great save in this instance by Brad Stuver to keep it 1-0 here. I think this was the second highest XG chance that they had on the night, at least from a goals on target perspective when I went through the shot charts last night, So again, Stuver showing his class on this play in particular.
Yep. And when it's at its best, this is what it looks like, really. You know, you're conceding these shots from outside the red zone, and we let Stuver handle them. And a fantastic save. But, you know, again, you just saw that secondary wave of attack coming from Colorado after they have the high press, where you have these trailing players who are now getting opportunities to shoot and, you know, with Bassett earlier, score. And it seems to be a wrinkle that other teams have utilized here, where you get your midfielders to trail these plays, and you're going to get the opportunities because we are so condensed back there. And you basically have Johan acting as a fifth center back at the point of the defense.
Yeah. Jumping back a little bit, this was something I was thinking about last night when the first goal happened. I think it was on last week's Moon Tower when they had Mark Rogandino on to preview this match, and he talked about the first 20 minutes being where, when you get to the elevation, that's where you can like really fall off, and you have to get your second wind after that. And I mean, you know, it lined right up with like 21st, 22nd minute goal that we gave up there. But so here, off that corner from the Stuver save, this is the only one of the 6 first half shots for Colorado that comes from inside the box. Off the cross, Hafa Navahu gets up for a header, and I think it was kind of being generous to him to give him shot credit. They said it was blocked out for another corner. This is Austin defenders here, the entire team livid that there wasn't a foul called here. You can see Ring kind of wave his hands and yell, wake up, right to the official on this replay. Austin ends up clearing it out. Second minute of stoppage off an Austin free kick. The Rapids come down after a deflection, and they're off on a counter. And here's where Obrian, again, just like 10 minutes later, in pursuit of the speedy Kevin Cabral, catches up, able to turn Cabral and slow up the attack. And again, I think just another good, like almost full length of the field type of effort from Hodder. And again, that gets us to the half here. But man, I mean, like I mentioned to kind of start this, I didn't feel like none of those shots were super threatening outside of the two Bassett ones. And even then, those are low percentage shots if you take those 100 times. So
yeah,
again, once one goes in, the plan doesn't go out the window, but it's, goals change games, as they say.
Yeah, the plan becomes incredibly compromised. And, that is the scenario that we're just trying to test our luck with, is that, there's not so many quality players in MLS where you're just, netting bangers in these types of situations. And then we can try to salvage. And as the game presses on, then you start to see these opposing teams want to press a bit more because they feel deserving of a goal. And that's when we can actually try to get something going. But when you give up that first one in the first half, you're just fighting this big uphill battle the entire rest of the game.
And into the second half here, right off the rip, yellow card to Hodder Obrian for dissent. He was really animated towards the official in this moment. He was asked about, or Coach Wolf was asked about it in the post-game press conference, and he didn't really address it completely head on, but kind of suggested that maybe something was said to Hodder in Spanish that was insulting or off-putting or what. I didn't know if he was insinuating that came from a Rapids player, if it came from the head official, what have you. But again,
he was
Obrian noticeably upset.
He was hot.
Card is given. Yeah,
he was definitely hot. Got his money's worth too.
49th minute, Colorado throw in near midfield. It's taken quickly, and then Travis finds Cabral about 8 yards out. That ball poked up by Biru to what looks like right into Cabral's arm here. Again, right in the danger area. But that ball off his arm falls back to his feet. He backheels it to Cole Bassett. Bassett takes a shot. That shot is blocked, but that deflection falls right to Navajo, and he buries it easily. And I thought the VAR check was pretty quick because I think that was definitely a questionable one. Not insane compared to what's coming here, but I thought it was a pretty fair shout at a handball here.
We've had handballs called on us for that. Again, we have been perplexed and confused about the rulings on these types of plays. And to me, it pops up and hits his arm and allows him to retain possession, because otherwise that ball's not dropping dead towards his feet where they eventually get a shot that leads to the rebound that leads to the goal. So I was incredibly confused. I don't see immediately after seeing the replay, I was like, okay, this is coming back. We got lucky. Here we go. Now it's our time to pounce a little bit here as they have deflated because they have a goal taken away, but not the case. And it's not good strategy to be relying on potential handballs in the box and the ref capitalizing on it. But we will take it in those situations when it's called. And again, I'm just confused. And as we get into the second handball coming up here, I become even more confused.
Yeah, it's really one of the only notable passage, things that happen here, events in the second half that's left. 57th minute, we do get Finley in for Obrian. I think that's probably just we have a game on Wednesday and Obi has to start.
And I one thing we talked about before jumping on here was that we've applauded this team the entire course of the season for their work rate, their ability to stay in games, stay focused, play hard. And we were fighting till the last moments of this game to try to get something on the board. So you see this substitution here, and I was totally fine with it because obviously Hader on that yellow were already stretched incredibly thin. Diego's flirting with being suspended. Johan's flirting with being suspended. And I mean, they're not flirting at this point. They have liked your picture on Facebook at 3 a.m. in the morning, and they have sent you a DM where it's like, we're trying to make this happen. So I get it, and like you talked about earlier in the first half, Hot Air had really exhausted himself trying to make something happen. So getting him out here is totally fine with me. We also have to try to find some sort of rhythm for Ethan, because he is going to be called upon as we move throughout the rest of this month and into July and everything. So like it is a tenuous situation at best right now.
The more I see out of Ethan Finley this year, the less confident I am in him being out there. I will give him the benefit of the doubt that he is coming off not one, but two periods of injury, right? Kind of a false start coming back from that hammy initially. So, not in form physically, right? I think with his conditioning game, right? You haven't gotten a game in a while. But to your point, we're gonna need a lot more out of Ethan than we have seen this year if we are to keep our heads above water, so to speak, over the next few weeks. 58th minute here, Rapids play a long ball from about 45 yards out right to the spot, and Maxu with a pretty solid knockdown here to put the ball right in the path of Navahu. And Navahu, luckily for us, hits it right off the crossbar. You feel like you could hear that thing reverberating on the broadcast. So Austin staying alive barely here, right down 2-0. Austin goes the other way. Biro plays just like a sick curling ball from the left all the way behind the line to Finley down the right. And here's again, Ethan Finley just can't quite get to that ball. He does keep it in play, though, near the sideline. They work it back around towards the left to Driussi. And this is where Seba takes 2 touches towards the middle, uncorks a shot that is clearly goes right off the forearm of Lalas Abubakar. And this, of course, goes to VAR. No penalty. And in my notes, I have, this is heinous.
Heinous. Like, I don't even understand how you cannot, okay, so even the ruling that was given, or like the commentators talking about it, was like, okay, well, it hits his thigh first. Like, does that matter? I don't understand, because there's no way, unless you don't believe in fucking physics, there's no way for this ball to drop straight down from the position that Abubakar is standing in and just like it just drops dead. Like, yeah, here it is. I don't understand.
Look at his reaction.
It's impossible. Yeah, he puts both his hands behind his back.
Yeah,
because he knows what happened. Again, an incredible, like, we don't even go to the monitor for this. How does that ball drop the way that it drops if it doesn't smoke his forearm, which is up?
Yeah.
We got called for a handball with Alex Ring jumping in the air.
Yeah. What about Brendan Heinzike?
Yeah, Heinzike looking the other direction. It skims off of his arm. Like, I just don't, like, this is inexcusable, man. I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. I don't understand. I don't know what else to say about it. It's horrible.
Yeah. I also think we have been called, Johan Valencia specifically, has been called for this exact handball twice at Q2. I don't remember the second game, but the first one was against RSL in the first ever playoff match we had. And those weren't on shots on target.
Yeah.
That is going on frame if he doesn't hit it with his arm. And those that we've been whistled for in the past with Valencia were crosses.
Yeah.
I just don't get it, especially with the assistance of video review. How in the world this, I think they suggested that maybe because they said it might have skimmed off his thigh first. It very clearly does not.
And why would that matter anyway, though? That's what I don't understand. Like, why would that matter? So, like, I just don't get it. I guess the positive thing here that I like is Seba with a little bit of space, just letting one go. And we need, like,
you were calling for that.
He has to do this for us more often because, right, like, this theoretically should generate a penalty kick for us where we can score. So, like, we need him to do this. I know that's not necessarily what he wants to do in regard to how he wants to put the ball on frame or distribute it, but, like, we need him to take some shots outside of the box, if not only to alleviate some of the defensive pressure that is going towards the wings because we play people wide consistently. So I need Seba to shoot these balls more often. I want to talk more about how much he gets hampered when Pepe isn't in the lineup. And we can get into that more so when we talk LAFC coming up here, but this is fucking inexcusable. And when you have something like this not go your way, when you're a team like Austin, it's really just a nail in the coffin.
Yeah. But I think it's also like, it's fair to say a couple of things here. I don't think it's fair to say that the officials determine the outcome of this game, because you're still 2 down. So even if you convert a potential penalty here, you're down 2-1, and we have not shown the ability to put the ball in the back of the net with any sort of consistency on the road, especially down a couple key guys. So there's zero guarantee you get anything after that. But again, goals change games, changes the game state. You would like that call to be made. I think it is fair to say that some of this is probably, again, the luck, the bounces evening out, where maybe we had a little bit of a surplus of that to begin the year, and now it's kind of coming back to the mean, as you would say.
Totally agree.
Yeah. 70th minute here, Harrison Larraz in for Ronan and Cabral, and then Austin 4 minutes later counters with CJ and Zardes in for Ring and Rubio, which moved Owen Wolf centrally right into one of those dual 10 spaces. 75th minute here, Bassett just misses a point blank shot off of a Harris cross. I think Stuver was in position. Heinzike was there right next to him, so he may have put it into one of those 2 guys, but it was a pretty high probability chance that he got there, and very lucky that he scuffed it and didn't make it 3. Again, game opening up even more now end to end. What do you got there?
I mean, this is really where you start to see that Guilherme is just completely gassed.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah,
this is where I'm like definitely calling out the coaching staff for not getting this man subbed out of the game, because he's given it all he's had. At this point, he is just trying to pass players on to our center backs and be like, yo, you go get him, and then
couple times Owen got back in his spot, I think.
Like, just had to, because he just literally physically could not do it anymore. And it made no sense to me, particularly with the upcoming schedule, unless we're about to get 90 out of Komenich on Wednesday, to not get Guilherme out of the game right now. And like, this was the play where it's like, okay, we just got super fortunate that we did not get scored on. It is a direct result of the fact that Biru is just completely gassed. He's got nothing left in the tank, where it's like, he needs to come out of the game. He has to. And he doesn't.
I mean, there's no other Austin subs till the 86th minute, but 82nd, you get Seba free in the box, isn't able to head home a ball that came in from John Gallagher. I think it was a good little flash, good cut, good run, and great ball by Johnny to find him, but just got to do better on that finish. And, he will. It's not fair to expect him to every single chance he has to bury it, but still, you got to do a little bit better in that scenario. You could tell he knows that, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is ultimately the construction of this team. It's 10, and you got to do a lot of things. You got to do a lot of spectacular things, but let's talk about the play here, right? Even the commentators had some anecdotes about it, where it was like, this is actually a creative, chance-creating opportunity ball from Johnny that's in the box in a dangerous zone, where we have some numbers, some figures up there to try to make something happen. And when you see the possession, once we get into the second half of the field throughout the course of this game, it does not have intention. It's just, okay, well, we're going to try to beat you. We're going to try to make you overcompensate here a little bit. Well, you haven't. Okay, now let's pass it back. Let's rotate it around the horseshoe a little bit. Can we beat you up this side? No, we haven't. So I applaud Johnny for putting this into the mix here. And I think that is partially because we're down 2-0, and you wouldn't be making this attempt, if this is in the first half,
right?
Because we haven't shown the desire to do that, just based on how we want to play these games. And like I said, we may have capped out completely on this road warrior mentality, and like, this is how we're going to play, and something has to change.
86th minute here, Hector on for John Gallagher, and Alonso Ramirez makes his first team debut on that short-term loan agreement in for Johan Valencia. Again, I get the Valencia sub. I could have seen that come a little bit sooner, maybe, with him on the yellow card accumulation warning. And apparently he was also cramping. That doesn't answer the question that I still have that you posed a few minutes ago. Is like, why didn't Biru come out when he looked just completely tanked? And then first minute of stoppage here, Austin wins a corner. Jossie gets his head to it, but puts it wide. And again, guys just not able to really challenge Zach Steffen last night, and that was pretty disappointing.
Is this the play where we have CJ and G on that far post? I don't think it is, right? Because I don't think it came.
No, I think I missed that one in the notes.
because that was a huge opportunity for us. Like that, it's just, it's frustrating because that is a chance to score. And G does not do well with it. He has CJ. I mean, we have two guys wide open in that situation. I don't know exactly what minute this came at, but again,
88th.
Okay, and you see, like at the advanced stage of G's career, he doesn't have the verticality that he once had, and this is how we have to try to get him to score goals. And you get two chances here, G, and it's just not good enough, and it just very frustrating, very, very frustrating.
I'm glad you brought that up, and disappointed in myself for missing it, because not only was that a key play down the stretch there where we're again missing another one of these chances. 0.27 XG on FOTMob's model. That header that again did not go on frame accounted for half of our XG last night. So it was a significant chance there that Zardes not able to put on frame.
Yep, and I mean, even if he lets it go, CJ's got a great chance there too. He's kind of falling backwards, stretching, and man, it's frustrating.
56%. Austin possession, 12 shots to 8 in favor of the Rapids, 6 on target to Austin's 0. Colorado generated 4 big chances. They missed 3. Austin FC generated 2 and, of course, missed both. Just 4 corners to 3 in favor of the Rapids, and 1.02 XG for Colorado to 0.54 for Austin. But then again, expected goals on target, to me, tells a little bit of a better story. 1.6 for Colorado and 0 for Austin. Here's one thing I did want to bring up here. We were talking about our midseason grades in the midweek episode, right? We talked about Diego Rubio, how much we loved him at the beginning of the season, how we both perceived a little bit of a drop-off over the last 8-9 games or so. I present to you, E, his FOTMob scouting report. Let me get a couple zooms here. So, we're pretty good with the passing, and then some of the defensive stats, right? For forwards, he is top 10% in tackles and interceptions against positional peers in the next 14 competitions, right? And this is based on a big enough 1,700-minute sample size over the last year. But what we need from the striker position is some non-penalty goals, some total shots, assists, expected assists, right? The shot creating actions. Dude, it's awful right now. This is not encouraging.
No, I can't put all this on Diego.
Of course, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. But this was eye-popping. That top third of his scouting report right there, it's almost non-existent.
No, that's really, really bad, particularly with how hot he had started. And the opportunities are just not coming for him the way that they have. And when he has had some chances and some opportunities, he has not done well with them. And again, I point to just the lack of other playmakers on this team to find him in positions where he can actually put something solid on frame. I thought Seba did really well to set him up, not once, but twice in this game. And he just didn't do enough with it. And I don't know if that was partially because obviously Colorado knows him very well, has the good scout on him, and knows what his tendencies are and what he likes to do, and we're able to shut him down, or if we've just seen this sort of cliff that he has fallen off of here in the last 8 to 10 games where it's just been absolutely dismal. And that just, none of this can stand alone in its own vacuum. It's all interconnected with the other players that we have. And I think that this also highlights to what I've been talking about with 10, where you see in the second half of this Colorado game where he has to be getting the ball on the opposite side of the field, almost in Johan's position in order to just get the ball at his foot. And when he has the ball there, it just makes everything so much more limited in regard to what we can do, because then we don't actually have our 10 in the attacking third to be able to receive those passes. And that's why Danny is just so integral to what we want to do, and why I am desperately calling for a lineup change here in the LAFC matchup. Not that I necessarily believe that's going to be the key to our success, but because something has to change. We've seen it. The sample size is large enough now. We have been able to see the success or lack thereof from this team over the course of the last 5 games plus, where it's the offensive generation is just not good. It's just not good. Like, we are one of the worst teams at it, and something has to give. Something has to be switched around in order to just try something new. I need more out of Diego, but I need more out of everybody.
Yeah, I'm with you. A couple post-game comments here. Coach Wolf said in the first half, the most perplexing part of the first half is the amount of times we're arriving around the last line. We're in positions to shoot. We're in positions to play balls in front of goal, and we're just not shooting, or we're not executing the final pass at all. We're not even attempting it at times, and that's perplexing. That's disappointing. And man, what I have to say to that is, like, that's kind of on you, right? Like, if these guys aren't pulling the trigger, either you guys haven't been in their ear about it, or they're being coached to not take those shots because they're, viewed as lower percentage. So if that is the case, I expect to see these guys start shooting more from some of these areas. Whether that comes to pass or not remains to be seen. But Josh said that's perplexing. Yeah, to all of us too, man.
Yeah. The confidence is very much waning right now. A lot of guys have lost their faith in their abilities. And you've seen it so many times now too, where I am on board with that, where it's like, we want to make that extra pass, and like, we want to be able to get a surefire goal, like where we can really like just tap it in almost. And that to me signals and signifies that, yes, this is something that the coaching staff has instructed some of these players to do. But at the same time, these dudes got to have the faith in their abilities, that they have been, professional soccer players there and the majority of their lives. And you got to let one rip every now and then. And I need 10 to do it more. I need 10 more than anybody, because like, we've seen Alex in situations where it's like, brother, shoot the fucking ball. Like, you have to. And when he does shoot it, we're usually left empty handed. But it's extending to Hot Air. It's extending to Diego. The hesitation from Seba not to want to take some of these shots from outside of the box also points to that being true, where it's like the coaching staff is telling you that. You heard Josh all night, get it wide, push it wide, wider, wider. And it's just something that is a huge issue.
Yeah, and then kind of maybe a dose of that, kind of the confidence waning, as you put it, when you hear Leo in the post-game press conference. He says, one of the things he said, I think we were just, like I said, too slow to react. I don't think we fought enough. I don't think we ran enough. I think we were a step behind in every play. Yeah, we had some good chances, but I don't think it was close enough to be a good performance to win today. I think we deserved to lose. And while that may be true, you don't like to hear that from guys, especially as downtrodden as he looked. So again, you've got another opportunity here on Wednesday to kind of turn things around, try to get a result against a team that, again, in nearly every position is better than us. So unless you have anything else to add on Colorado here, we can put that in the rear view and look ahead to the juggernaut coming to Austin on Wednesday.
I got two things. One, did we get any sort of question about the handballs to Wolf?
Yes. I know he didn't like it. I think what was more interesting to me was Phil West put in a request to PRO, right, when calls like that happen, for an explanation. And the quote, his arm was in a natural and justifiable position when the ball struck him, and therefore was not deemed to have committed a handball offense. And I guess now, we are debating whether the hand and the ball is involved in a handball. Like, I don't know, man. Bullshit.
It's a shot on target.
Yeah.
Like, it's going, whatever. We can't get too hung up on that, because obviously it was not the deciding factor in this game.
Yeah.
Let's look at Leo, man. I have been thoroughly unimpressed with his performance this season. And then you take into account with Julio the offensive ability that he provides in the air, and it just is really starting to snowball with this team. And every now and then, you get a goal from Julio, you get some scrap in the middle of the box where we create a chance off of it, and we get a deflection, or we get a header from Julio himself as a goal scoring opportunity. And Leo hasn't scored in his time here, right? Like, I don't.
He did get one last year. I think it was in like a meaningless type of garbage time situation, if I recall correctly. I think one of the things you also mentioned about Julio is not just the offensive additions that he brings, especially on those set pieces, right, in the long throws, but that bite that he has. If ever, when have we seen Leo get into it with anybody where the official had to hold up a free kick and say, hey, you guys got to calm down? It's never number 15.
Yep. And again, like I talked about earlier, with 10 being one of the only players who makes that secondary pass where it's like, I'm going to skip you, friend, because I know where the ball needs to go. I don't understand why Leo can't do that out of the back. Yeah. I don't get it. He has the pedigree to be able to make line-breaking passes. And if he wants to talk about hesitation and not having that fight and everything, we are being so risk-averse that it is impacting us negatively at this point. I understand that we have to because the margins are so thin, but it is clearly in these dudes' heads to, hey, let's not have a grievous turnover in this situation where we're putting ourselves in a terrible situation. But when we're down in these types of games, I'm okay. Would it suck to lose 4-0? Yeah, but I would rather see us kind of push this out and kind of go for it. Also, I said two things that I wanted to talk about to wrap this game up, but it's actually three. We need to talk about the set pieces and how fucking terrible they were last night. They were horrible. We can't have set pieces where the end result is we're passing the ball back to Stuver.
Yeah.
Which happened more than once last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
That cannot fucking happen for this team. And I know that we gave,
Jason
Grubb?
Yeah, Jason Grubb.
I know we've given him his props at the MLS Next Pro level and as well as for some creative design.
Is he being scouted out right now?
I think we're just getting too cute. Again, I just think we're getting much too cute. Every now and then we mix in those little short balls and then we get here comes the eventual cross. But you're seeing it then come from Alex Ring where we're getting it deflected because he can't get the ball off of his foot in the first place because we haven't created enough separation for them to willingly be like, okay, well, we have to respect this.
Right.
And again, we just can't have set plays in the opposing team's third that end up with a touch for Stuver.
Yeah. Yeah. A corner can't end up with Stuver.
It's bad, man. And again, I point to just being willing to try to mix it up there and get this ball in the box and let's see if something comes from it. So yes, now I am ready to move on from this terrible performance and move into
possibly another terrible performance.
This daunting task that lay before us.
Oh shit. LAFC coming to town this Wednesday. Hey, I'm happy we get back into Q2 for the first time in many weeks. Because regardless of where the morale is, I'm always feeling good when I get to spend a night with our friends at Soccer Church. But of course, LAFC coming to town, I believe, winners of 8 straight, if I'm not mistaken. I know you were on the preview here, though, for our midweek match, so I'll turn it over to you. Talk to me a little bit more about this buzzsaw.
Well, they're on a 6-game win streak in league.
Okay.
And an 8-game win streak total. I'm pretty sure over the course of those last 6 games, they have scored 12 times in league play and only conceded once. So they have really hit their stride. Denny Bouanga has 7 goals and 6 assists in his last 8 games for a total of 13 goal contributions, which is good stuff. You can just go down the list and look at this team and look at the talent that they have, whether it be Mateusz Bogusz, Ilya Sanchez, Timothy Tillman, Atuesta. Then you get to the back, you have Muriel, you have Aaron Long, you have Hollingshead, and then by the way, there's Hugo Lloris in the goal there. So yes, they are better than us at pretty much every position on the field. They are a fantastic team who is really hitting their stride right now. Cherundolo has routinely outcoached Wolf, has made adjustments that has left Wolf perplexed and looking for answers. Not that I know that there is necessarily an answer when you have such discrepancy between the talent skill cap of these two teams. That just propels you to being like, oh, well, this is a mastermind move. And now here we are where it's like we're on level footing with this team. I don't know if that exists, but even with that not existing, Cherundolo has outdone the coaching staff of Austin FC after that 4-1 thrashing that we handed them back in August of 2022. Since that point in time, they've knocked us out of the Western Conference Finals, and they have yet to lose to us. I think we've only scored on them twice, with them hanging 10 goals on us over the course of those 3 matchups. So this is a team that's going to be coming into Q2 riding high, knowing that they're the better team, knowing that they have found solutions that is now spreading out to the rest of the league, particularly in the Western Conference, of how you can play Austin FC and just punish them routinely for how they're going to approach the game. So this is a game that we know who they are and what are we going to do to respond. And for me, we got to make a lineup change. And this is what I'm calling for. I'm calling for either a CJ or Ethan start at the wing, drop Owen back into the midfield, slide Alex to the 6, allow Owen to be that connector that Danny has been, and get Johan on the bench. I love Johan for what he brings to the team in regard to his toughness, his willingness to play defense, his willingness to sacrifice his body, and his ability to play solid defense at the MLS level. But I just don't think there's too big of a drop-off between him and Alex defensively, but there is an absolutely cataclysmic drop-off when it comes to the ability to advance the ball and get the ball at the feet of 10 between Johan and Danny. And I think Alex can do a bit of a better job at that. And also, you saw last night multiple times Alex demanding the ball from one of the center backs to make that line breaking pass, and they just refused to do it. And again, that comes back to that risk aversion mentality that we have just taken. We've taken it too far. It's good to play things safe and it's good to understand your limitations. But once you start to go into that negative kind of mindset and where it's like, well, I can't make this pass because what if it goes wrong? Then you're really starting to hurt yourself and you limit yourself even more. So that's the lineup change that I'm calling for. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think that we just have to try something new here if we're going to stand any sort of chance securing a point versus this team.
How do you think I feel about it? I feel great about that because I was talking about that as how we should have started against Colorado. I think, like you, I don't think I have a high degree of confidence that that kind of change will be made here. I do think if you go back and look at the win-loss draw record with Valencia starting this year, I think it looks a lot worse when he's in there than when he's not. And again, that's not, of course, all-encompassing, right? Because subs happen. There's different guys in and out, the starting lineups, etc. But I'm 100% with you. I want to see that more aggressive lineup, more aggressive midfield offensively, right? I don't think that what you're losing defensively, putting Alex Ring in that spot in the defensive midfield where Johan has been of late, I don't think you're losing more defensively than what you gain offensively. So I'm with it, man. And again, at this point, I think we just have to put our trust in a guy that we don't have a lot of confidence in right now in Ethan Finlay, a guy that we don't have a lot of tape on at the first team level in CJ Fodre, right? I think the risk is worth it at this point to try something like that. Because again, what else are we going to do? We're going to keep rolling out this same 11 and same limitations and make it, in my opinion, even easier for a coaching staff like LAFC, a coaching staff like Minnesota coming up on the weekend. Look what they've done with a shorthanded roster this year. And fucking shit, man. LAFC has one DP. It's just Denny Bouanga. And they look this fucking good. Get ready for Giroud the next time we see him, bro. And probably another DP on top of that.
Yep. And then you look at this LAFC team, right? They're able to employ a bit of a high press that they can be risky with. Like they can take good chances with it because of the midfield behind them. So like you beat Bouanga, you get past Atuesta or Tillman, and oh shit, there's Ilya Sanchez, one of the best defensive midfielders in the game right now, waiting for you, who is fantastic at not only intercepting the passes that other teams present to him, but also just dispossessing players right off the ball. He has a great tackle per percentage rate. And then not to limit him there, once he does get the ball, he is somebody who is not only willing, but very capable of distributing that line-breaking pass. Now, oh shit, here comes Bogusz and Bouanga bearing down on you, and you have to reacclimate your defense to just being able to withstand what's coming your way with the speed and talent that both of those guys possess. And if you are fortunate enough to beat Ilie Sanchez, then you get to that back line, and there's studs all across that back line as well. So I'm totally with you. The scouting report that happens with Johan, I would assume on the offensive side of the ball is, hey, dude, just let this dude have the ball. Let's see if he can make a pass to somebody, and we'll go from there. So at least the elements that the other team have to account for if we roll out a new starting 11 does increase a little bit. But for me, it's just all about, if 10 is the motor, if he is the engine, if he is the man that we are going to rely on for so much, we cannot hamstring him by having dudes behind him who are not capable and or willing to make line-breaking passes to unleash and alleviate the pressure that is coming our way. And that is why I think it has to be Alex at the 6 and Owen in the midfield to try to act as that dual 10. And I know that Owen has not been particularly great in that situation this season. Danny struggled with it, but he did get a little more used to it. He did get a little more acclimated to it, and he was able to generate some chances for us. So I'm hoping Owen can step into that a little bit. But man, our backs are up against the wall, and this is just one of the worst times to be seeing this team.
There's certainly a chance that you could see some form of rotation in the LAFC side, double game week for them as well. This is the one of the 3 matches they have. Actually, they're coming from the road at Austin, home for San Jose, the last team that they took an L to, and obviously a West Coast rival there. So maybe they take it easy on us for 60 minutes and get a couple of these young guys, because, man, like with the few absences that they do have internationally right now, the couple injuries, couple knocks, outside of their starting 11, you're getting into those replacement level, young, inexperienced level players if there is any rotation there. So they've got more than enough to just 9+2 us and be fine. But I will take a 9+2 over an 11+0 from LAFC on Wednesday. And man, regardless, like I think one thing that I want to see more out of this team as we go throughout the rest of this month, shorthanded, is a little bit more of that bite, kind of that attitude, right? Especially at home on Wednesday, where it's like, hey man, like you're not going to come in here and walk all over us and put on a show. Like you might get the better of us here because you're a very good team, but that we're going to put up a little bit more of a fight than we've seen, just from my perception over the last couple games. And I think specifically the last 2.
I'm right there with you. And we have to have that. Like it has to be part of the recipe that
Where's the underdog mentality?
Yes, I agree. I don't think that we bought into the fact that we were, that good. I just think that, the underdog mentality can only extend you so far. Like it's well and good to talk about. It's something great to believe in. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at the discrepancy in talent between these two teams, you just have to have that underdog mentality, even if it doesn't get you to the point where it's like, okay, we're going to be able to secure some sort of result here versus LAFC. For LAFC, it's just really interesting, this matchup, and being introduced to this matchup in this league with them being so talented, us getting that amazing 4-1 win, and then us really just kind of like latching on to like, yeah, we want these guys, like we want to get after them. And I'm just reminded of that fantastic Mad Men meme where it's like, here's me, like, people thinking about you, and Don Draper's just like, yeah, I don't think about you literally at all. And I just feel like that's how they feel about us. So.
Yep. I'm with you. And man, like, look, if you guys need any motivation, I'll give it to you now. 3-1 LAFC for me. I see a very slim chance that Austin comes out with a result here. You also look at the odds in Vegas. The bookies think you guys are shit too. Plus 260 to win at home. Sporting KC, again, bottom of the Western Conference, hosting Real Salt Lake. They're plus 165. I mean, this is just, look, you can take it as disrespect all you want, but until you guys show something against one of these better teams, like beating the Galaxy was great. that was about 2 months ago now. It's a what have you done for me lately business. It has looked ugly. Me and almost everybody else expects it to get even uglier on Wednesday night. So look, man, fucking laminate that. I have zero expectations and very little hope for Wednesday, and I'm gonna go and enjoy my experience regardless.
Okay, that's quite fair. Damn, yeah, I'm really on the spot too. Obviously my streak of predicting victories is the most important streak that surrounds this club right now. Give me 2-2 draw.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick to my guns. Whether they are sane or not. So I'll go 2-2 draw with the new lineup, and then I'll take credit for that draw, thanks to the substitution recommendations that I've made here today.
Oh, fair enough. 3-1 loss for me, 2-2 draw for E. Wednesday night, 7:40 kickoff at Q2 Stadium. Looks like a little bit of rain in the forecast, so fingers crossed for no delays.
Do you think
let's talk about that? What's that?
What do you think of the attendance?
Oh, it's going to be sold out. The attendance. There's going to be some green chairs.
There's going to be a lot.
There's going to be some green chairs on the broadcast. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a hard game for people to get up for. Obviously, midweek team is not doing so well right now, and you understand who's coming to town. But we'll be there.
Hey, we're going to be there. Heck, look. Did you ever think you're going to get a chance to heckle the shit out of Hugo Lloris for 45 minutes straight? I didn't. So I'm going to take advantage of that.
There we go. We'll do that.
All right. We'll get to last business day here in a moment. But, of course, we got to check in on
the best keeper in the world.
So Louisville City FC, I see you fighting back the giggle today after I mentioned the 100% hit rate.
I know what's coming here. It's just we're down fucking bad right now.
Yeah, goddamn. Louisville City 3-2 loss. And I'm actually going to read this full Damien update from our buddy Trevor Allison, who is an actual Louisville City FC fan and has been helping us keep up with Damien. So here's his Damien update. 3-2 loss to Freddie Kleeman's Tampa Bay Rowdies. Shot stopping was good, as always, but box command was a problem. Came off his line aggressively twice and whiffed on both, the second leading to a goal. His center back, who was the USL Defender of the Year, was visibly upset because Damien kept him from making a play on the ball. Second goal was a penalty where Damien guessed right, but it was out of his reach next to the post. And the third goal, with the heartbreaking game winner in stoppage time, a nice finish from very close to Damien. He was in good position, but didn't have time to react with the pace on the ball. Back post problem like our Austin boys have had. His sweeping was decent enough, and his distribution was good in short range. Overall, it's more of the same. He has obvious raw talent, but needs to make better decisions in box control situations at his current level. That is the Damien assessment from Trevor Allison from Saturday night's match.
Love it, Trevor. Thank you.
Yeah, very well done.
If there's one thing we know about Damien, he is an aggressive guy. He's willing to come off of his line and try to make some plays in the air. So you might not get away with that at the USL level. Yeah.
So getting into last business day now, just a quick recap of the Timbers 2 match last Friday at the pitch. You did have, of course, no Alonso Ramirez as he was called up to the first team. Tony Gomez also still out. So that put Sheikh Touré in at center back and meant, to his credit, to the entire backline's credit, and Marcus Alstrup, who was in net once again. You get the clean sheet at home. I don't care who you're playing. That's a good performance. And then so you had Irvin Torres kind of playing that 6. You had Jimmy and Micah out there on the wings. Actually, I think, to my recollection, it was actually more Steve Louis-Jean at the 6 and kind of Irvin Torres in more that kind of 8 position with Bobo in front of him. And again, Austin, more shots on target, not able to generate any big chances, but 4 of their 8 shots were on target. Ultimately, we go to PKs and fighting back from an early Sheikh Touré miss. I want to say he took the first penalty for Austin in the shootout. Alstrup with the big save along the way. Austin ends up prevailing, I believe, in the 6th round of penalties, 5-4. So you do get the 2 points, which you called for, the 2 points. It was a 2-2 draw, I believe, on the Easterdamus prediction, but the result ultimately the same, and now sitting on 13 points from our 12 matches and 4 points back, I believe. Actually, I think there's just 7 teams in these playoffs. So I think 5 points back of that playoff line now, and we'll preview their next match in the midweek episode, but North Texas SC on the road on Saturday coming up. They're just in first place in the West. That's it.
That's all right. I just want to say gritty performance by these Austin SC2 boys here, undermanned. There you go, Mooch. Undermanned, and to be able to get that result there is great, and we've been asking for this team to have some sort of, catalyst to turn this season around a little bit here. And being without Alonso, that's a huge loss for them. Like, he's one of their best players, and he is
where's the armband?
He provides box to box, skill and talent that we really need at that level. So look, the more I'm talking about Alonso, are we going to see him called up Wednesday too?
Yeah, Coach did confirm in the postgame he expected him to be up with the team. It sounds like the rest of the month.
Okay,
and playing because we need it.
Good. Question B: am I crazy to think that he's a better option than Johan at this point?
Yes, but I don't think it's just
or am I just a little dumb? Am I crazy or am I a little stupid?
I got no problem calling you a little stupid, so we'll go with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, he was only out there for like 10 minutes last night with the first team, but again, I think he handled himself just fine. And we'll see what happens, when you're at home, sure. Q2, LAFC and
LAFC. Yeah. But and I'm not gonna take this super small sample size and just try to fucking run with it and build some sort of narrative where it's like, yeah, this is 100% something we have to do. But again, something has to change. Yeah. And like, if I see a dude who's able to get the ball at his foot, turn, deliver a pass on time, and then make a run towards the other side of the ball, towards the other side of the field, I'm feeling pretty good about it at this point. Come on up, baby. Yeah, like shit.
Oh man. Quick, want to touch on the academy, actually at the U17 level tonight on Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Central. This match is not streamed, but there will be multiple games of each round available to watch on MLS Season Pass, so hopefully Austin can progress into one of those slots. U17's playoff journey here in the MLS Next Cup playoffs out in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. U17's taking on the Galaxy U17s. This is the round of 32 match. Austin qualified for the playoffs by defeating Dynamo U17s 3-0 in a play-in match last weekend. So yeah, the Dynamo continuing to be little brother at every level of competition. So good luck to the U17s out there. We'll be paying attention. And if you guys have a match that is streamed, we will be tuning in.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm super excited for them and that opportunity. Let's go get it.
Yeah, be nice. Maybe we find a little bit, maybe find some results here with the academy.
Hey, we'll take them wherever.
First two teams struggling a little bit. No best ball update. Haven't compiled those scores quite yet. So in the midweek, we should have 2 rounds to talk about. And again, that midweek episode on Thursday with the Wednesday night game against LAFC. But closing it out here, with the bets and near disaster there as well. Of the many bets that we put out there on a match day, only 3 of them hit, but they were enough to profit on the week, because we hit FC Cincinnati plus 145 in comeback fashion against the Quakes on the road. And then we get not only Denny Bouanga to score at plus 150, we get the plus 950 Bouanga brace, which gives us plus 1.45 units on the week. So we are up now to negative 4.32 units on the season, breaking the 3 match day losing streak. So we'll take it however we can get it, and we will move into the midweek. And I can tell you this, again, we want to see that injury report. I don't really have any picks off the top of my head right now, but I can tell you I am not picking Austin to win on Wednesday.
Not even a halfer?
Nope, no halfer. I went halfer on Saturday. Couldn't get it done.
I'm throwing a halfie. All right. Well, good for Bouanga. No more goals, brother.
Yeah, we're not taking that bet either.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Maybe hedge the happiness. It's the best thing to hedge. Oh boy. All right. Anything else for you before we shut it down on episode 151?
You went through those results last night and just reminded me that we had a lot of great opportunities. A lot of results went our way last night. That would have been awesome to capitalize on. So now I'm even in a more shitty mood than I was before. But I guess this is good therapy. Got to talk it out, talk it through. Can't wait for Wednesday. Look forward to being there, and we're gonna do what we can, man.
There will be a game.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Well, I think one thing that we didn't talk about, just real quick, right? The opportunity that we had with the other results. Austin drops to 8th, tied for 7th on total points with Houston. Houston a game in hand, and still 6 points between, or we'll say 5 between Austin and 11th place St. Louis City. But again, that can go away by this weekend. So nothing is safe right now. But what is safe is the fact that you can see us in the North End. If you're at Q2, hope to see all of you there. Enjoy the beginning of your week, everybody. We will do the same, and we will see you back here on Thursday for another edition of the North End Podcast. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.